Hi guys, today we're going to be discussing 9 upcoming horror films releasing in March and April. Horror fans are going to be eating good for the next couple of months. There are some absolutely fantastic films that I'm so excited for. There's a couple that I'm questionable about, but I'll let you make up your mind and let's get into it. Releasing on March 8th, we have Imaginary. Imaginary follows a woman who returns to her childhood home and discovers that the imaginary friend she left behind is very real and unhappy that she abandoned him. Her daughter develops an eerie attachment to a stuffed bear named Chatsy that she finds in the basement. I've seen, I think, the most buzz about this film and one other that we'll talk about later, but I'm interested to see how they make a teddy bear terrifying. I know that Child's Play made a children's doll scary to some. I personally think it's a little bit more funny, but if my dolls over here, my haunted dolls, started walking around, I would be scared, I guess. So, maybe a teddy bear can be scary. March 22nd is going to be a busy day for horror fans. The next film we're talking about is Late Night with the Devil. This film I'm super excited about. It is a found footage style. It takes place in a television studio. Let's roll the trailer. Presented in a found footage style, David Dalshman stars as Jack Delroy, host of the fictional 1970s variety and late night talk show titled Night Owls with Jack Delroy. The film purports to be derived from a rediscovered master tape of an episode from the show's 6th season, broadcasted on Halloween 1977. During this live television broadcast, havoc unfolds when Delroy interviews a parapsychologist and the subject of her recent book, a young teenager who was the sole survivor of a satanic church's mass suicide. The visuals, the color grading, the costuming. I am the most excited about this film. I love 70s and 80s horror, so I'm interested to see a modern film and how they take on that era. And if you don't want to go to the theaters on March 22nd to see this, as a lot of people don't, it will be streaming on Shudder on April 19th. Next up, I don't really consider this a horror film, but technically it is. A lot of people do find it to be in the genre. I'm also not a huge fan of this franchise. It is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. In Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, the Spengler family decides to leave Somerville, Oklahoma and go back to where it all started, the iconic New York City firehouse, and help the original Ghostbusters, who've developed a top-secret research lab to take busting ghosts to the next level. But when the discovery of an ancient artifact unleashes an evil force, Ghostbusters new and old must join forces to protect their home and save the world from a second ice age. I feel like I'm still going to see this movie just because I believe Slimer is back in this one, and I want to see just like the effects. I think if they're able to do, based off of the posters, some really cool CGI on the New York City landscape, I think visually it's worth watching, but it probably won't be on my top list for this year. At number 4, we have, also on March 22nd, Immaculate, starring Sydney Sweeney. Of all people, a devoutly religious woman named Cecilia, played by Sydney Sweeney, is offered a role at an illustrious convent in the Italian countryside. Her seemingly picture-perfect new home is soon revealed to hold horrifying secrets. I don't know too much about this movie. I'm really hoping that it's not, sorry, it's windy outside. I'm really hoping it's not just another riff on The Nun. I'm hoping that they don't go the supernatural, paranormal route in this, or if they do, I want it to be tied to a living person that, she interacts with, almost like, I don't know, like a demonic priest or something, or nun, not like Valak, but a living person. I'm just kind of done with the whole religious, paranormal subgenre that we've gotten churned out a lot of for the past couple of years. And hopefully Sydney Sweeney can transfer over to the horror genre. I think she could be great. She's not a bad actor, and I'm just interested to see how she can handle such a severe shift in what she's portraying. Again, on March 22nd, we have a Shudder exclusive called You'll Never Find Me. You'll Never Find Me follows an isolated man living in the back of a desolate caravan park who is visited by a desperate young woman seeking shelter from the violent storm. As the savage storm worsens, these solitary souls begin to feel threatened. But who should really be afraid? I feel like there's going to be a twist in this, and based off of the description, I'm assuming it's either the guy or the girl, or there could be a secret third party. I'm really hoping that it's not spoiled based off of this description. I have not watched the trailer for most of these films, except for Late Night with the Devil. Of course, I do have to cut them to put this in the video, but I won't actually be watching them in their entirety. I'm just going to cut out clips that look the best so I don't spoil anything for myself. Coming in at number 6, we have Baghead, which will be streaming exclusively on Shudder and AMC Plus on April 5th. Following the death of her estranged father, Iris learns that she has inherited a rundown centuries-old pub. She travels to Berlin to identify her father's body and meet with the solicitor. When the deed is signed, she becomes inextricably tied to an unspeakable entity that resides in the pub's basement. Baghead, a shape-shifting creature that can transform into the dead. $2,000 in cash for 2 minutes with this creature is all it takes for desperate loved ones to ease their grief. Iris is tempted to exploit the creature's powers and help desperate people for a price, but she soon discovers breaking the 2-minute rule can have terrifying consequences. This is another movie that I'm super excited for. They're both Shudder exclusives, so it's not really a shocker. I love Shudder and like everything that they put out. If you don't have a Shudder subscription, I highly recommend checking it out. I think it's about $5.99 a month, and there's great content that they're constantly cycling out and making their own originals. I think it's worth the watch. On April 19th, Abigail is hitting theaters. After a group of would-be criminals kidnap the 12-year-old ballerina daughter of a powerful underworld figure, all they have to do to collect a $50 million ransom is watch the girl overnight. In an isolated mansion, the captors start to dwindle, one by one, and they discover, to their mounting horror, that they're locked inside with no normal little girl. Killer kids. Very scary to me. I think this is supposed to be a creature feature from what I've gathered from the trailer and other people talking about it. I've only seen a few snippets of the trailer. I typically watch about like the first 10 to 15 seconds to see if I like the atmosphere, and then I'll turn it off unless I'm super hype about the movie. Like if a new Terrifier trailer came out, I would just watch the whole thing because it's not going to be spoiled for me. I love Art the Clown no matter what, and I'm going to go see it. I do like these sorts of films, like No Exit or Don't Breathe, where things start to turn their head on the bad guys and they end up becoming the victims of the movie. So let me know what you think about Abigail and if you could be scared of a 10-year-old ballerina. On April 26th, we are getting another Silent Hill installment. Return to Silent Hill. Return to Silent Hill follows James, who has been devastated after being separated from his soulmate and receives a mysterious letter that leads him back to a town called Silent Hill. He discovers that the town has been changed by some unknown malevolent force. As he delves deeper into the town, he finds terrifying figures, both familiar and unfamiliar. Doubting his own mental stability, he tries to comprehend reality and hopes to stay strong enough to rescue his beloved. I think that this film's going to take a different approach. I think it might start to play a little bit more on like a psychological horror. If he's questioning his sanity, which they specifically call out in the description. But I am happy to go back to Silent Hill. I've played, I think, one of the games on my Xbox, I think, or my PSP when I was a kid, but I do love the original movie. I've actually seen the painting that they use, in that one scene of the movie where they slice through it. I think it's a picture of a witch to find a doorway to get her daughter. It's at the Zach Bagans Haunted Museum, and I thought that was really cool. Not a paranormal painting, but just a cool horror artifact. Lastly, we have another Shudder exclusive streaming on April 26th called Infested. Infested is a French horror following a man named Caleb who is about to turn 30, and he's never been lonelier. He's fighting with his sister over a matter of inheritance and has cut ties with his best friend. Fascinated by exotic animals, he finds a venomous spider in a bazaar and brings it back to his flat. It only takes a moment for it to escape and reproduce, turning the whole place into a dreadful web trap. Killer spiders, guys. Infested killer spiders. Imagine Record or Quarantine, but instead of zombies or vampire creatures, whatever rabies infested people, it's spiders. Just spiders. Normal spiders. I've seen clips, stills. They're like normal looking spiders, but that's Alright, let me know which of these movies that you're most excited for, and if I've missed any that are coming out. Comment it down below, and I'll see you guys next time.